All right. Welcome, everybody, to Hack Money Judging Day. I am Kartik, one of the co-founders of ETHGlobal, and this is our day 5 and group number 6 of judging our DeFi hacks. So for those of you who don't know, on the live stream, Hack Money is a hackathon organized by ETHGlobal. And for the past 4 weeks, we've had over 350 hackers from 40 different countries and 15 different time zones work to create projects in the DeFi ecosystem. We had people from all these amazing countries and over 40 mentors who helped out our hackers with anything from technical to product to marketing related challenges and feedback. And on top of that, we had all these amazing sponsors in the DeFi space who took out the time and gave their resources to help integrate all projects with a lot of their SDKs to really take the composability to the next level in this ecosystem. So let me just say this again. We had over 350 hackers who spent 4 weeks working on projects. And as of Sunday night, with the submissions, I'm proud to announce that we had 118 DeFi projects that were submitted for this hackathon. That is absolutely incredible. I can comfortably say that with this week alone, we've doubled the number of DeFi projects in this space. So for the next 2 hours, we're going to be looking at a lot of these projects. I want to just quickly walk through the logistics of how this call is going to go. We'll have 14 teams that'll come on stage and give out their demos, where these teams will have 4 minutes to demo what they've built, and we'll have 3 minutes for any feedback or questions from our judges. That gives 7 minutes per team in total. And to make sure that we're minimizing all technical difficulties, we've asked all the teams to pre-record their demo, which they will be playing as they come on. So a quick overview of how the event was structured. The rules and criteria for this event were simple. We had a team. You could work with a team of up to 5 members in total. That didn't mean that you had to necessarily work with a team. People were allowed to work by themselves as well. And a lot of the hackers that we're going to see are also individual hacks. But they had to incorporate a DeFi primitive into their hack. That was one of the core criterias. And that all code that you've seen at this event was written over the course of just the 4 weeks of the hackathon running. There were some cases where we made sure that somebody was able to also extend features to something they've already done, and we kind of had made those custom exceptions. But overall, everything we'll see today was done and over the course of the hackathon itself. In terms of how the judging is going to go, there's going to be 5 different categories that our judges are going to be scoring these teams, and that is going to be how technical, original, and practical their project is, along with, on the usability side, how easy is it to use from a UI or UX standpoint, and for developer tools, how abstraction is coming in handy for the intended audience. And of course, we also have a catch-all category we call the wow factor, where anything that we've missed in the 4 categories above can be addressed. And I just want to remind everybody that this is not a competition. Our hackers are here to learn and share their excitement. They've spent 4 weeks working on these really cool projects that they want to just anywhere from get feedback on to understand how people may use them or react them and how they can make them better. And this is kind of where our judges are coming in. And not everybody's trying to make this a business. We're not hoping that everything turns into a company or a big project. We want to keep this thing in the spirit of a hackathon. And the goal is to keep on experimenting in this ecosystem. So I want to give a quick schedule for how this call is going to go. These are our 14 teams that'll come on one by one. And after they get judged, the top teams will move on to our finale, which is this coming Tuesday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., where we will have a set of special announcements around our prizes from our sponsors, but also a much bigger feedback session that combines all 8 days worth of judging, or 9 days worth of judging that we've done throughout this entire week. So everybody else on the live stream and the broader crypto community can check out the top projects that came out of Hack Money. And doing the really hard job today are our 3 judges, Spencer Noon from BTC Capital, Monty Vora from Saya, and Hart Lambert from UMA, who will be telling all of our sort of teams in terms of like how they've done it and kind of sharing their excitement. And we're really thankful for them for giving us their time today on a Friday. And with that, I want to kick off with our very first demo for the day. And I'd like to invite Team YieldHero to start sharing their demo. Please welcome them on Zoom. And I'll ask our judges to turn on their cameras as well. And we'll kick off the demos today.
All right, here we go. YieldHero is a one-stop suite for managing your Aave yield. Currently, we have two main features. The Swap Tokens button lets you easily swap your A tokens for other A tokens via a balancer pool. And the Become a YieldHero button lets you pledge your yield towards deserving bidlers in the Ethereum community. Let's take a closer look at each function. Swap tokens. Before this feature was invented, swapping A tokens was a tedious process. You had to redeem your A token for its underlying asset, in this case DAI, go to Uniswap or 1inch to swap for the asset you want, and finally deposit that asset back into Aave to get your A token. Now with the balancer pool comprised of the 6 Aave stablecoins, swapping is as easy as clicking the swap button. Sometimes you can even discover arbitrage opportunities in the pool. Redirect yield. Aave has an awesome feature that lets you redirect the yield on your A tokens in real time, sending a stream of money to the recipient wallet. However, during the hackathon, I discovered there was no easy interface for making this happen. Sounds like a good idea for a hack. Pledging your yield is as easy as selecting which A token you'd like to redirect, then selecting a name from the list. You can even input a custom Ethereum address if your recipient isn't on the list. Once you've redirected yield, head over to the leaderboard to see your name on the list. Don't forget to click the Tweet It button to flex your philanthropy. As of this video, the A token balancer pool has more than $6,000 in liquidity. However, due to extremely high transaction fees, pool utilization has been weak. I expect that more A token swaps will happen once transaction fees on the network go down. As of this video, over 36 ETH worth of yield has been pledged to 6 different open source creators. Even though this hackathon is ending, I will continue to reach out to potential liquidity providers and grow the A token pool with greater and greater amounts of liquidity to foster easier swapping between A tokens. There have been also talks in the community Discord of turning the pool into a smart pool controlled by a smart contract similar to PiDAO, so that may also be an option. As far as redirecting yield, I plan to reach out to larger organizations who have a vested interest in supporting the Ethereum community to redirect their yield towards open source creators. Hey ETHGlobal, how about you guys lead the charge? Finally, I will continue researching new techniques in yield hacking and add them onto YieldHero. In conclusion, this has been a great hackathon experience and I look forward to joining many more hackathons in the future. Thanks for watching. Now, ask me anything. All right, cool. Hey guys, this is my co-founder Jesse, and yeah, fire away.
Great presentation, by the way. I have a general question. What was the single biggest challenge that you faced while building this, be it technical, non-technical?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I guess from a technical perspective, it was some of the graph things that I had to learn how to do, like incorporating the Aave subgraph, and I even had to write a Solidity contract to deal with, to interact with their backend. But from like a project perspective, I mean, obviously onboarding people, I tried to reach out and find as many open source bidlers as I could find and like get their Ethereum addresses and their ENS domains and stuff. So once I got those people, then getting the actual other people to redirect their Aave yield towards them was also, you know, a challenge. So it's one thing to build a cool product, but to actually get people to start using it is definitely like the hardest thing. But I think I did it. You know, I'm pretty happy how it went because I launched it probably I think 10 days ago, and we've already had quite a few redirects and quite a bit of liquidity in the pool. So I'm pretty happy how it went.
Great.
By the way, big fan of SIA. My favorite. That was the first coin that I ever traded in crypto like 4 years ago. So very cool.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I thought that was a great presentation. It was also pretty funny. So thanks for the comic relief. I'm curious, if you had more time to work on this, what features would you include, and what would you want to work on next?
Yeah, for the redirect yield part, I really envision that as becoming like not a competitor to Gitcoin and their way of like doing that, but I think there's definitely a way to have a more social aspect where everyone can have their own profile, and like you can see who's redirecting to them, who they're redirecting to, and just a kind of way to build up the whole open source contribution, and to give a place in the Ethereum community to have that kind of exchange. So that's definitely something I'm going to be continuing to work on, building out the social side of the YieldHero.
Got it. Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, you can think of it kind of like reputation, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
Daniel, question just on the redirect yield stuff. How do you claim, if I get yield redirected to me, do I have to do anything to claim it?
No,
or what's that process
so
look like?
That's actually using the Aave backend, and they have a function that allows me to do that. So basically, it all gets updated live via their subgraph, and as long as I'm constantly updating that, it gets updated live. And like later, I can hook up webhooks and stuff and send people emails when they get a new yield, or I can do a lot of really cool things with notifications as well. So that's something I plan to do. Hopefully even use the Ethereum push notification service that was one of the hacks here. So I think that'll be really cool to be able to use that. Thanks, guys. Anyway, I think we're almost out of time. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, thank you guys so much. And follow me on Twitter, YieldHero.
Dan, Jesse, thank you so much for this awesome first demo. It's very entertaining and relaxing at the same time. And just to kind of point out for our live stream audience and also for everybody else on the call, these things are live and on mainnet, so you can check out YieldHero on yieldhero.app.
Yep, thanks.
And with that, I would like to call up our second team, Contraktor, to kick off with their demo. Please welcome Contraktor.
Hey, hello everyone. Let's share my screen for the video. Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Wesley van Heijen and I'm an independent tech and engineering lead. I'm happy to show you today my submission for the Hack Money Hackathon. For the past weeks, I've been working on a tool called Contraktor, which is a smart contract explorer. It allows you to browse through common DeFi projects or any other verified smart contract on Etherscan. You can find related smart contracts and different deployments on different networks. It helps you to visualize and interact with the contract resources and its state. So why did I build this? It's specifically aimed at smart contracts, the definition and the interaction. So this is not another block explorer analytics tool. See it more as a swagger for smart contracts that really helps you to navigate and explore similar contracts on different networks. And of course, everything is open source and dependency free. Now let's dive into the demo. Starting here on the start page of my application, I've added a sample contract that you can search for. This is one that I deployed myself a few hours ago, mainly to display that any account address that is being showed resolves the ENS name of it. Underneath that, you can see the definition of the smart contract itself. This one, of course, is still fairly simple, but let's explore a few other ones. For example, Compound, which have their governance contract over here. You can see this is getting a lot more complex already, but every contract address that you see here immediately links to its own contract page as well. So for example, the time lock. It has contract page. You can continue to navigate and explore other contracts related to it. So here again, we see the admin relates back to smart contract, and this way you can continue to click and explore related contracts that are linked to it. I don't need that, of course, all the definitions and functions of that smart contract. Now let's look at another example. For example, Uniswap, who recently did their mainnet deployment. So right now you can see there are 342 pairs right now in the factory contract. But what does it look like on another contract? On another network, sorry. I'm gonna connect my MetaMask here and switch to the CoFound network. So going back to the factory contract, I can see here that there are 27 contracts, and that allows you to easily check and test on these contracts on different networks. Of course, all the members are something that you can view and see the results of. The same works, of course, for actual functions. So let's say I want to execute this one. MetaMask pops up in order to confirm and sign my message. I'm going to skip that for now, but I guess you get the idea. Now here, from the logged in user, you can see as well that it resolves back my ENS name. That concludes the demo for now. So let's quickly go back to my presentation for some of the future work. I still plan to support for unverified contracts that are being deployed by proxy or factory contracts, adding user and contract management so that you can keep track of your personal favorites and bookmark some of your contracts in your own dashboard, and to further decentralize the solution and host this on something like IPFS. That's it for now. I'm looking forward to your feedback. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you for the presentation. I think it's a really interesting tool for developers. I wasn't clear on what projects you used to build this solution.
Which projects?
Which companies or what projects did you use to build the solution?
I've included or tried to include most of these contracts that are related to the DeFi projects and the sponsors. So in there, I at least included Aave, Compound, Uniswap, and ENS. But as mentioned as well, it can work, or it does work on any smart contract as long as I have the ABI. So I've linked it with the verified sources on Etherscan as well, for example.
Got it.
Wesley, I think this seems like an amazingly useful tool and something that I wish existed. So thank you for building it. Two questions, just quickly. Does it require you to do any work on your side to be able to read? Like, do you just need the ABI, or do you need to process it in any way to make it work with Contraktor?
No, really, it's just the ABI, indeed. Good documentation and coding standards, of course, help. Using proper naming for your functions, for your parameters, makes it all easier, of course, to view the definition. But the UI can be generated just on the ABI. Yeah.
So this could be super useful for like non-DeFi, like any contract you want to explore is part of the idea here.
Yeah, exactly.
And then separately, what gave you the motivation to build this? Was this a point of frustration you had in exploring and interacting with these contracts, or where did it come from?
Definitely. Yeah, no, definitely. It was a lack of. I don't think there's many tools or good tools, I guess that exist for this. So it's one to really view the state, explore contracts, how they're linked together. But on the other end, definitely as a developer as well, just see how something looks like. It also helps to explain other people, maybe less technical people, what a smart contract actually is and what it means and contains on certain points in time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you did a great job. This is definitely a really cool tool. I've been frustrated, I think, like you, going through different websites and clicking through contracts, and it would be awesome to have something like this. What do you think is the most underappreciated thing that you accomplished as you were building this project?
I think it was mainly collecting all the different APIs and contractors over different networks. I mean, most projects have their own way of working, of course, deploying to different test networks. So gathering all together, curating that list of linked contracts was definitely the most, that took the most time.
Got it.
Seems like
unfortunately, yeah, I think we're up on time.
Up. Yeah. Thanks for your feedback, though. Thanks. Glad to hear. Appreciate it.
Hello, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, thank you so much. And next up, we have our next team who are going to talk about their DeFi bot. Please welcome Fabian from Java DeFi Bot.
Hello, everyone. I will share my video. Everyone, I'm presenting to you the project Java DeFi Bot. As the project name already tells you, this is a bot written in Java that uses the Web3 library to make transactions in the DeFi ecosystem. It currently uses the Infura API to connect to the Ethereum network, and it is open source. I already started working on this project before the Hack Money Hackathon started, and used this opportunity to clean up the source code and get it ready for publication. What I worked on during the hackathon can be seen in the commit log. The goal of the Java DeFi bot is to do beneficial actions on the Ethereum blockchain for the DeFi ecosystem while earning a profit for the user. These actions include, for example, maintaining the DAI pack, providing liquidity, and liquidating under-collateralized assets. You may ask, what can the bot do currently? Currently, it sells DAI on Oasis or Uniswap if the DAI price is above $1. It buys DAI on Oasis or Uniswap if the DAI price is below $1. These actions add liquidity and help maintain the DAI back. The bot even earns interest on compound if there has been no market action for a while and this action is profitable. The Black Thursday showed that it might be beneficial to have a diversified range of keeper bots running. Therefore, the bot also bids on flip auctions if the auctions offer cheaper Ethereum than the market price. Let me show you the bot running. For this demo, I anonymized the balances. If you use the bot for the first time on an address, it performs approve for transactions on the DAI and REST smart contracts. For such a bot, it is very important to make sure nothing goes wrong. Therefore, it has certain inbuilt security features such as a circuit breaker that stops transactions if too many failed in the last 10 minutes, or there is also a maximum gas price. There is an easy-to-use big decimal wrapper to handle smart contracts that use scale big integer numbers with 18 or 45 decimals. The handling of the gas price or the price feeds can also be an inspiration for other developers. The bot creates an extensive log that makes it easy to comprehend what is happening. Currently, it successfully trades with DAI, but it looks a bit just like moving the capital value between DAI, REF, and ETH. The bot also does not very much if the DAI pack is off for a long time, which happened recently. I also integrated Travis CI and SolarLint. This makes sure that Maven install always works, or that you can also see the code coverage and get information about code smells. Trading on Oasis and Uniswap has been tested. Sometimes the transactions can fail because others have been faster. Sadly, I couldn't see the flip auctions yet live due to market circumstances. You can see that I have lots of ideas on how to improve this bot in my list of feature ideas, but sadly, I don't have enough time to implement them all. Thank you for your attention.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
Very cool. I love this idea. I think there's so many opportunities for arbitrage, right? When you have all these different pockets of liquidity out there. So I'm curious. I mean, how defensible do you think something like this is over time, right? We're in the early days of DeFi. There's clearly people doing these arbitrages, but not too many. But in the future, I think we'll have a lot more. How do you see products like this kind of maintaining their edge as we move forward?
That's a good question. I think it depends on what kind of arbitrage opportunity you're looking for, and or which opportunity do you take. And for example, I think like if you have a look at the DALP pack, then I might think that because like the pack is off for such a long time, that this opportunity might be always there. But of course, then you have like problems like with the S volatility or in which other asset you are.
Gotcha.
Fabien,
yeah.
I'll back up what Spencer was saying, in that like this is a very cool project, and like I think it highlights the money Legos aspect of DeFi, the fact that anybody can run these bots to extract these arbitrage opportunities. I think it's one of the coolest things. You mentioned in your video you have like a long list of feature requests. I was kind of curious to hear from you, what are the top features you'd want to add to this next?
I think the next thing I would care about the code quality, so making the code coverage higher. So there's I make sure there's no bugs left, and then of course I would like to add that you can use MakerDAO to like get DAI via Ethereum, or like that you also use Compound to get like Ethereum in exchange for DAI. And I think there's lots of also adding new exchanges, or I think there's now also so many new projects here. So it's very interesting.
Cool. Curious if you've run this bot over a period of time and see what kind of data points do you have, if any, in terms of how it's performed, what profit it's gotten, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so I ran this bot for the last week, and the performance always depends on like mostly on the Ethereum volatility, because like most of the time like the assets or the value is in Ethereum, and then it heavily depends on the Ethereum performance. So I think in the last week, I think I made around, I think according to the statistics of my bot, around like 40 US dollar. Oh, I think my time is over. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And with that, we are going to move on to our next project called Safe, and they will be talking about this on top of over the video as a voiceover. So I'll let them kick off.
Hi. Hi, everybody. So we are Safe. We did a chatbot to onboard people to crypto. So let me play the video. So the problem we are trying to tackle is that many people find it difficult to to enter the world of crypto, because it's full of words that people never heard about before. And so the concept is a bit hard to grasp sometimes. So we thought a chatbot interface to make it easier and people to learn at their own pace might be a good idea. So also leveraging on DeFi and to let people be onboarded with their own wallet and not letting their funds on a centralized exchange. So here we have already wallets. Oh, first I want to hear what's Ethereum. And so, yeah, the idea is to save time and to reduce risks by educating people. And to bring them also the basics of what we could call memology. So all about cultural aspect of crypto. And yeah, so that was a small thing. But yeah, so the onboarding is thought to be regarding how risk averse are the users. There will be proposed different type of investments in DeFi protocols. So there is a risk assessment that is being made, and also enough education to inherent risks within the crypto space, and explaining all the trade-offs in terms of risk and returns provided by these protocols. So namely ADI, so from AV, and for some more risk-averse people, maybe some token sets as well. And the on-ramp, we chose to do it in stablecoin to avoid risk exposure again. So we restricted it to some stablecoin. So that's the idea. So helping users make informed decisions when it comes to investing in DeFi and while saving money at the same time. We think already about extending it to social pooling. And yeah, we have some ideas. We could not reach the point where we thought we would be at, partly because of some unexpected problems we had. We lost many stories in the chatbots. So yeah, I'm up for your questions, and Emric as well. Oops.
Cool. Really interesting concept of implementing a chatbot for education. You know, in a lot of these onboarding sort of guides, forms of education, I think the biggest challenge is curating content. Curious to hear where you're sourcing that content from, how you're segregating it, and in terms of just the feedback, I would keep it as concise as possible because this is a chat format. But yeah, curious to hear your process.
Yeah, so an interesting one, because we thought about our target groups first. There was DexBlue released some market research that they did about who are the users of DeFi. And so that was always an arbitrage between how much content is too much, how many emojis are too much emojis, because we found out that the DeFi users are mainly under 30. So yeah, it's obviously the chatbot has to talk to you in a way that you can relate to, and that's a very challenging one, because when you address users that already use DeFi, who might refer it to their loved ones who they cannot onboard one by one, that's also the second target group that is targeted. Yeah, the curation, of course, is happening on the long haul. Being ourselves in crypto since a few years, we have time after time gathered some content that some storytelling.
Alexis, just so because we don't have much time left, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the chatbot concept, and I think you guys, I think it's very cool to see. What drew you to this? Why did you want to pursue this chatbot idea?
Because the interfaces of wallets or buying crypto are most of the time trading interfaces or trading-like interfaces, which might not be so much appealing, I think, for first-time users or people who are completely strangers to crypto. So just
very cool.
Directing the money stream in a more conversational way.
I think we're out of time, but that makes a lot of sense.
Awesome. I'm not a judge, but I think just as in terms of feedback, if you already have the content part of this ready, you should also try to see if you can integrate with other chatbot services like Telegram and make it easy for users in each of those messaging platforms to get access to this thing. I'm sure this is already on your list, but this is great. Thank you so much. And with that, we are going to move on to our next demo, and that is Team Slingshot. So I know they're here. I'll let them share their screen.
Thanks, Kartik. We're just going to play the video now. Hi, we are Slingshot. The team is made up of myself, Harith, Edward, Ben, and Ethan. Our product is an on-chain incentive system to encourage regular participation in Ethereum meetups, which have long been a backbone of efforts to increase awareness and adoption of Ethereum. Inspired by Kickback, our project takes the stake reward idea and applies it to communities that meet up regularly. Members stake ETH to RSVP for an event where their attendance is taken. Attendees of the current event receives payout from the stake in the previous event, whereas stake from the current event is used as payout for the next event. Let's walk through a demo. This is Slingshot. Without signing into MetaMask, I can't interact with events. First, let's do that. The last meetup we organized was huge. The online event managed to attract lots of attendees from around the world. Because the event had such star power, we didn't need much incentive to get people to attend it. The high attendance meant stake was divided up into more pieces, meaning I got only a small payout for attending. The next meetup in the schedule isn't as highly sought after. Getting people to celebrate the end of their hackathon with a party just isn't as exciting in the current climate. People are still reluctant to leave their homes and risk contact with others. Naturally, we'd expect their participation rates to be low. As the organizer, I RSVP to support my own event, but I don't expect many others to do so. Sure enough, only a few people RSVP'd and only 4 people showed up in the end. Here's where Slingshot comes into play for meetup organizers. Large stake carried over from the previous event and less attendees means more payout per person. Members are incentivized to show up, even when the event isn't at the top of their list. As an organizer, I have certain functions available to me, such as pausing events and creating proposals. Clicking on the user profile, I can see a list of my activities across various meetups. To build Slingshot, we combine 2 contracts, deployer and meeting, ENS and proof of meetup attendance to improve reputation, and admin functions to limit the power of a single organizer. In the future, we'd like to implement version 2 of the smart contract on the website, including governance functions, and integrate pool together builder to customize rewards, as well as other items. You can try out the demo yourself on this link. Thank you very much for listening. So that's our video and open for questions.
Awesome. Guys, I think that is definitely a really cool concept. And you're clearly leveraging Ethereum in some pretty obvious ways, but I really like it. A question that I have is just around the mechanics of how this works. And I want to know, like, how do you combat the adverse selection problem, right? Where you kind of want people to go to events in order to like be a good either contributor or maybe they're like they actually want to be there. Whereas when you introduce this gamification and the ability to make money, do you worry about that potentially making it not as like as great of an event? And what are some things that you can do to combat that, I guess?
The whole like putting money into relationships always kind of like complicates things. What we want to do, to be honest, is just to start it off with meetups. So I run my own meetup and we can try it out with the attendees and try it out with smaller groups that know each other and with less fees, so that the money part is like enough of an incentive, but not enough for you to try and game it too much and make money at the expense of others.
Gotcha.
Cool. Have you guys tried building? Oh, I'm sorry, Manse.
No worries. Go ahead.
Building off of Spencer's question, have you guys tried this in the real world yet? Have you actually done this with a meetup yet, or not quite?
No. So we finished the first version of the product, but we haven't tested it out with real meetup attendees and real money.
But that's going to happen shortly, I'm guessing, right? With one of your meetups?
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's going to be very cool to see how it all works. I'm quite excited for that.
As a meetup organizer myself, this is definitely a challenge where attendance ends up being 50 to 60% as opposed to what people RSVP. So really interesting to see projects like yours. I think maybe I missed it, but what's the difference between Slingshot and what's the other one that you mentioned? Kickback, yeah.
So kickbacks are focused on singular meetups. So you stake for the event, and if you don't show up, you get your stake taken away from you and given to other attendees. We want to sort of innovate a bit more on that idea and make it for a sort of regular series of meetups, so that it's not just incentivizing a single event, but you're also incentivizing a continuous sort of culture of attending and participating.
Got it. And do you plan to integrate in some way with meetup.com or some way to collaborate so that attendees don't have to be on 2 different platforms and it's an easier user experience?
Yeah, we'd love to, but I guess it's one step at a time.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Awesome. No, that's really cool, because this is a thing that we as ETHGlobal struggle with all the time, to ensure that we're doing events, especially when there's no cost to the end developer to show up and come in. We really have to think about ways to ensure that there's the attendance and just our logistics are in order. So this is really cool. Hopefully we get to try this out in the future too. And more importantly, we hope that actual meetups can resume this year. So thanks again. And with that, we'll move on to our next demo, and that is anonymous credit. And they've made a really cool way to do loans without KYC. I'll let them take over.
Hi, this is Kai from Anonymous Credit. So I'm going to share my.
Hey Kai, looks like you may have forgotten to check off the share audio on Zoom, so we're not getting any audio here. Would you mind just resharing your screen?
Okay. All right. Our hackathon project called Anonymous Credit. You can find our demo and code in the following links. As a brief introduction, the project, as its name, is going to create a missing part of DeFi application, non-collateral lending and borrowing, so the user can borrow crypto assets only by the credit. The simple credit system we have built in this project is called Markovian chain credit. The credit and interest rate for each time of borrow is updated based on the previous borrow. If paid off in time, the credit will increase, and the interest rate is halved every 8 times. Here is a demo we will show later. It displays an account in my MetaMask, has certain credit line in US dollars, and current outstanding balance. The second part is about how to create a credit identity. Here, our innovative solution is address mining protocol. Everyone has to use their computation power to create a valid address, which is a total decentralized and fair credit by ordering Bitcoin. The mining rule is simple. A valid new address in 10 minutes, and hashing difficulty is adjusted every 2 weeks. The demo shows last hash and target hash difficulty, and we can mine an address in the browser. Other integrations include borrowing cross-chain BTC, aka CBTC, a decentralized map ERC20 BTC issued by SBTC chain. Also, we integrate Chainlink to use a price fee to calculate the amount of CBDC one can borrow. As the credit line is in $1 units. You can find the integration code in the link. Here, we will walk through the demo. So we open the home page, and there are mining and loan center. In mining, we start mining. It takes a while. Sometimes freeze. So finally get a gas, and then we transfer gas. After it's confirmed, we import this new address and see the balance here, and we mine the address actually. The mine address means that we record this new mine address to the contract. Then we go to the loan center, we click on borrow to borrow some CBDC. After it's done, you will see here the credit line is $1, and the current balance you get from the repository is this value, and the outstanding balance is plus the interest. And later this account should pay off with the total outstanding balance in once, so you can recover the new credit. That's all my demo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kai, I got a million questions here because I think this is really fascinating. So just to understand the mechanics a touch better quickly, I mine an address, and then after I mine an address, I'm initially given my initial credit limit, and I can borrow against that, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Who is lending to me initially? Who's the initial lender?
So, I mean, my basic idea, my future idea is try to do a peer-to-peer lending. But right now, I just put for the hackathon project, I just put some token in the repository and as a pool to lend to this address.
And then the idea is that every time I pay back my loan, this Markovian credit chain, my interest rate goes down based off of my previous good behavior, my good credit behavior. Is that the idea?
Yes. But right now the model is very simple.
Yeah, still it's pretty fascinating. Did you that idea of this Markovian credit chain, is that something that exists anywhere else in traditional finance or anywhere? I'm very curious about it.
Previously, I talked to my friends who doing in the traditional market about the credit. He working in a credit card company, and he actually don't have all his work is very sophisticated. It's complicated. I just show him that this simple idea model seems that it might work. And basically, I think in the future we might looking at the actual borrow history, rather for those users or for those address who are in sequence of borrows, what's their performance and default rate, and we can get a much better interest rate estimation.
Fascinating. Very, very cool.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, cool concept, similar to building your credit history. So your next loan will be based on your history. But curious as to what's the starting interest rate, and then how sustainable is it to halve it every X times, 8 times or something you mentioned? What does that end up coming to after a few iterations?
Yeah, just a complicated sheet in my slides as an appendix. You can check out later.
Okay.
So it's so a little bit complicated. We just make sure that each time you can make some money, not losing anything by assumption there's a default rate.
Yeah, curious how that works, but sure, happy to look at the slide.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious kind of what you think the largest attack vectors are for something like this, and maybe if you designed around them.
I think the first one is doing the KYC less loan. One thing is you cannot find how to create the identity. So we use the mining strategy, so people cannot create as many address to borrow something initially as possible. So this is the first one. And the second one, I just try to simulate real world credit model. But due to the time limit, we don't have too much time to work on a complicated one. That's something we can work on later. That's
gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that amazing Markovian chain demo. And with that, we'll move on to our next demo, and that is Team Hal. I'll let them take it away from here.
Thank you, Kartik. I'm Emiliano from HAL, and I'm here with Mario and Matteo.
Hi, we are.
Let me share the screen. Okay, great. Share computer sound. Here from HAL team. In this video, I will explain the hack that we did, the codeless hack for the WBTC bot. So the hack that we did was to celebrate an important event for WBTC, the first tokenized version of Bitcoin on Ethereum, for basically the minting of 20 millions of dollars of BTC. So this basically minting 1,500 BTC. And we built this very nice bot that notify about events on WBTC contracts on Twitter. I will explain how we built it. So we built a platform, HAL, that basically helps you to connect Ethereum to traditional application, centralized application, but also to execute on-chain action. To build a bot, we basically built a trigger watching an event. If you see the transaction of minting, you see that the transaction will fire a specific event. I mean, several events, the mine, the transfer, the mine confirmation. So what we did is take the contract, basically insert here. Automatically, the HAL retrieve the API from Etherscan, and we basically choose to be notified when or execute an action when the mine confirmation event is fired. So we have several actions: email, Twitter, Slack, Telegram, webhook, Discords, and fuck. Sorry guys, I seems to have shared the wrong video. Sorry.
No worries. If you have the new one, we can quickly switch over to that.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see if I can recap. Okay. Yes,
I thought the video you had was great. So
yeah. Let me recap from here. Okay, we be fast. Okay. Yes.
I gave a name.
Oh,
can you hear the audio?
Make sure. No, I think you turned off screen sharing, so you have to just share that again and make sure you check off the audio box.
Get me. Sorry, guys, but I have the previous. Okay, here. I'll be fast. Okay. And here we go. So basically, okay. Create, and here we go. So basically, as you may see, in very few minutes, I'm able to create an off-chain action, shortly also on-chain action, just in few clicks. Under the hood, the system is composed by a front-end React app, the one that you saw, that basically help you to build triggers, a backend written in Node that basically manage all the API for getting the triggers to be created, and a backend Zoroaster written in Go that basically look for the blockchain and at the end of the day execute the off-chain action. But HAL, as you may see, is similar to an IFTT platform, but to be honest, it's a state channel connector. So it's an entity between a decentralized one and a centralized one that basically connect the two worlds. We are going shortly to introduce the on-chain automation, partnering with Gelato for a Mega Station Network to have more complex flow that help you to build hybrid automations. The idea is to be able to build anything without writing any kind of code, but just wiring in a graphical way all the parts. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks. Okay, thank you guys. Sorry for the playing the wrong video, but you know, shit happens usually real time.
All good, man. So this is this seems like a very simple, useful tool to monitor, if I get this right, monitor smart contracts and the actions that they trigger inside them, and also filter what you actually trigger based on some of the input parameters that you guys demonstrated. Is that right?
Yeah, to be honest, I wouldn't like to use monitor. What you can do is to track and look for what happens on chain, but also off chain. So it's something that let you connect moreover. So you can execute, if you want, like in this example, off chain action, that in this case, it's just a notification on Twitter, but could be also something happening in a backend system, something that maybe execute a trade on a centralized exchange or anything. So right now we are just connecting the on-chain part with the off-chain, because right in this way, it's easier to build something and to create automation without bothering about, you know, the service that should be managed to realize it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you guys that I've actually been looking for something like this, and it looks beautifully done and very professional and very clean. So like, excellent work on that. Technically, just very quickly, the back end of it, where is it hosted? And since this is something that you want it to be, you know, very reliable, have you guys done any thinking around how to keep the resilience or the redundancy or the reliability up on it?
Yeah, right now it's pretty centralized. I mean that we manage our nodes and we have a resilient backend service infrastructure. But as soon as we are going to introduce on-chain action, basically we are going to leverage a network of executors, basically the one provided by Gelato and others players. So the idea is that in the medium term, we are going to decentralize that specific part just for the on-chain action.
Very cool.
Guys, I was just playing around with your website as you were talking, and it's just awesome. I mean, kudos to you guys for building something that's so user friendly, and I think this definitely solves some pain points and use cases that people want to do. I mean, there's so many actually that I'm like, my head is spinning right now. What are some of the, like, what you would say maybe like V2 use cases? You mentioned centralized exchanges. Like, walk me through kind of that, and maybe there's a core user that you had in mind as well.
Absolutely. So one case that will be available shortly with the V2 is basically you can re-implement the DeFi saver using HAL. So basically you can monitor the the collateralization ratio of a vault or whatever, any added debit position, and then you can trigger an on-chain action that maybe execute the refinancing process. Or if you want to realize an arbitrage between DEXs and centralized parties, you can do, because you can monitor what happens in the maybe Binance or whatever, and what happens in Kyber, and as soon as the condition verifies, you execute the flow. That's the idea. So these would be what we are calling recipes, so pre-made flows that the user can share and can collaborate to. So there will be an open platform like Dune Analytics where people can basically build their own recipes flows, like you do with Furo Combo, but will be shareable and will span both the decentralized world and also the centralized world. That's the idea.
Got it. Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. That's really cool.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Hal. If anybody wants to check this out, you can just go to hal.xyz. It's live on production. And with that, we're actually going to kick off with our break. So we're going to take a 5-minute break here, and we'll resume all demos in 5 minutes. And we'll give some of the teams and our judges a quick opportunity to stretch their legs and just make sure that their scores are up to date. So we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Hello?
Hey, Peter, we'll be back in 1 minute.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we're going to just get set up for our next demo. And this is the one where I am playing the video on my end, so I just need 10 seconds to get settled. All right, so we have Upala as our next team, and I will kick off their demo video from my end now.
Greetings, humans. Upala is a Sybil-resistant system for the apps and a decentralized identity in the future. Upala provides human uniqueness score in dollars. The main idea behind Upala is explosive bots protocol, meaning that any user of the system can delete their ID at any time and run away with an amount of money, and this amount of money is this user's score. The main building block of Upala is a group. Users join groups, they gather a pool by depositing money, and the groups assign scores to its users. Now, if someone decides to explode, they grab their score from the pool and run away, betraying other members in a sense, so that they won't let this person in again. The system ensures that the group is able to provide the scores as long as it has sufficient funds to pay for at least one explosion. The same way users join groups gather in the hierarchy. Superior groups may require deposit from its subgroups and in turn add extra scores to their users. This way large groups emerge. And now an attacker chooses a group with the highest score, and all they need is to prove membership by providing a path through group's hierarchy to the top group. Any group can provide scores to the apps, but it makes sense for the app to check the topmost group as they are the largest. And this group may require a fee for providing the score. Groups can choose any governments or incentive models. They only need to follow bot explosion rules. They also can choose any entry test. Here is a hierarchy based on reputation and personal social connection. Here is a hierarchy based on DAO, using DAO membership as an entry test. Or here's a hierarchy requiring simultaneous membership in other identity systems and hierarchies, which could be very valuable. And in general, the system works similar to insurance. Good identity reputation means low risk of explosion, and it allows score providers to give the highest score to the user. The Upala score may be used as a very reliable threshold for the apps to interact with, or even as a collateral. It is even possible that Upala score will be higher than a black market cost of a state ID, so it has a potential to be a substitute for that. During this hack, we made a single group using Upala protocol, which requires zero deposit, has no entry test, and just auto assigns $3 to anyone who joins. So let's have a look. First, we register our ID. Now we join a group. The group assigns us a score of 3 die. Now we can explode. Have a look at pool balance and our balance. We still have an ID. Now our ID is exploded, the pool balance decreased, our balance increased. So this is how it works. Thank you very much.
Hey, Peter, I think this is, thanks, man. This is, I think this is very cool. I want to make sure I grok it. Well, this is very cool. Is it kind of like a microfinance group where you have a group of people that all sort of vouch for each other at the base layer? Is that like a reasonable analogy for how to think about this?
Yeah, you can use it as an analogy. It's a social responsibility. So if someone messes up, everybody messes up in this person's group.
And then the idea is that, and you've got the nice kind of graph structure of taking these micro groups and expanding them to extend kind of like one type of credit score or type of loan characteristics for the whole network.
Yeah, it works kind of like that in a sense. But now the analogy breaks a bit. It looks more like insurance. So when users join groups, the group will assign score based on risk. So if user deposits $1, this user may receive $10 if this user is reputable. And in the same way, if a group deposits to a top group, so the top group assesses the risk and multiplies its deposit. So it goes up and up, and users at the top get more and more scores.
So curious, how is that reputation checked, or what is that identifier to give scores to people or individuals?
There may be several or maybe a lot of score providers. Basically, any group can provide a score for the app, but the apps are, it makes sense for the apps to choose the groups with the largest amount of people beneath the group. So basically, any group can provide a score. The score is just this amount of what a user can run away with.
Right, and what is the mechanism that any group uses to provide that score? That's where I'm a little confused.
It's provided by the protocol. So the mechanism ensures that every group through the path will pay out the score that they added through the hierarchy. So first group added $10, then next group added $4, then another $5. So they pay in backwards all these sums to an attacker.
Interesting.
I've got a question. So if you had more time to hack on this, how would you have improved it?
I wanted to build a Blade Runner DAO, which is a group governed by a DAO, so that they decide which DAOs to let in or which entry tests to use and to plug into their group, and what scores to assign to different entry tests. Entry tests, I interchange with group. So a group is basically an entry test. So we can use group to check if all the members of this group are members of a metacartel DAO, for example. This group becomes an entry test.
Gotcha. Cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that really cool sort of way to manage reputation. And with that, we'll move on to our next demo, and that is Project Learn and Earn.
Thank you.
A really cool way to save. So Victor, I think you're muted. Here we go.
Yeah. Kartik, just a quick heads up. We're missing one team member. He's on the phone currently, so he can't find the hands up feature.
We can manually promote them, so we'll do that right now.
Yeah, his name is Daniel Steinbach. I added it on the chat. There we go. All right, we're all here. So guys, I'm just going to start playing a video, and then we'll take questions after. And open share computer sound. All right, pressing play. Hi there, everybody. I'm Edward Bushi from Team Learn and Earn. I'm a designer, and I'll be running through the demo with you. We are a team of very talented developers and crypto researchers, and we have a special problem that we want to deal with in the world today. We want to help people save, because right now there's not a lot of systems helping us save money, and we want to like solve the low completion rate for online learning courses. And we think we can solve it by using crypto economics and blockchain interface for that. So here are essentially the rules for our app, and we could see this further in our flow diagram over here. So how this all works is students as well as donors are able to fund a staking pool, and each staking pool is dedicated to a course. And while students learn the course for 3 months, that's how long it's locked in for, these same students, once they complete all the tests, are able to earn interest on the stake that they put down, and are also able to get their stake back. Students who don't finish give it to students who do, and funds are returned to donors. Here's a very quick glance at our tech stack. We have Portis, Aave, and Chainlink, and that's what we're after today. And for a demo, I'd love to share with you a video of our run through. Here's our student flow. Here, Meet is actually signing onto Khan Academy. We have a Chrome extension which is able to inject buttons and interact with the blockchain. From here, we also have a backend that manages the tests and the students staking in. Right here, we're at art history, and we are going to learn and earn for this course. It's very simple. You go to a page where you have to pair your Portis wallet to the app, learn and earn, and then while you're here, students are able to stake 100 DAI and be able to take tests. And this is a test very quickly run through. So once the test is done, and every test has a little course. Once students pass the tests here, the idea is that they're more legible to gain the interest at the end of their term. They just need to complete the other tests in the time period allotted, which is 3 months. This is zoomed in 3 months later. What happens after 3 months? You pass all the courses. Well, you get your stake and your DAI for participating in this course. And here is the donor flow. Just very quickly, the intention here is that students can earn way more when a donor helps out as well. The idea is donors can give as much any amount they want, and the DAI that's staked into these pools are really going to funds that can support any course. The nice thing is they can support any program that they want, specifically if they want to. But I have to go back to this page over here. Let's see. In the future, we want to scale this up by giving alternate reward schemes, partnering with MOOCs to get better courses. We want to also think of a revenue share with the interest that's gained, and profitability also by partnering with corporate donors. So yeah, check out our documentation at Notion right here, and a big thank you to the folks who helped us for this month. There we go. Yeah, so yeah, that's our video. We realized that there isn't a lot of tech talk here, so we're ready to take any technical questions and any crypto model questions if you have any, guys.
I don't necessarily have a question, but just a comment. I think this is a really cool concept. I've started so many courses over the years that I haven't finished, and this would definitely motivate me to finish them and while earning some money. So, really cool concept.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, I would just piggyback on that. I think even more than making a student put money down because maybe they don't have it, but just having sponsors come in over the top and say we're really interested in this topic and for you to learn it, and if you complete this course then you get this prize. I think that could be really powerful, and it really demonstrates the power of like crypto. So great job.
Yeah, thanks for that.
I'm gonna echo again that like I also have a bunch of courses I've never completed. Need that economic incentives, and you know, you brought up about this idea of like diving deeper into the technical underpinnings of this. I think, you know, not everything is about being super hardcore on the tech. This is a very clean application. I'm more curious about kind of the origin story and how you as a team got to this idea and sort of found this problem.
Well, very, very quickly on our side, right? Like I'm part of a company called Bitcoin Bay, and our main mission is really to like grow the blockchain ecosystem here, and really solve. And my background as a designer is to solve like a lot of like UX problems in this. When Victor approached me with this idea, I found it to be like very well researched, and it was a great opportunity to like tackle two major problems at the same time. I wasn't concerned about like any specific ideas, but when we started this, but when Victor came up to this, I saw an idea that we could like tackle really quickly, had a lot of legs, and something that we could implement. But yeah, it's other people have other stories too.
Yeah, in terms of the saving part, because of my background is in investment and economics, so I saw the low interest rates really discourage people to save, and I want to create an incentive so that especially younger people, the people who just finished school, just start a job, give them incentive to save for their future, whether it's a retirement or for the future investment. So we try to combine these two problem, basically one stone to try to kill two birds, saving and incentivize learning together.
And sorry, and then for me, it was definitely like you, Hart, and Manasi, I just don't ever finish courses that I start. And when I think when you have something at stake or something to gain, it just makes it a lot more fun.
Amazing. Is there like very quickly, is there a next step for you guys of where you want to take this next in a sentence?
Well,
So,
yeah, like, oh, well.
Oh, sorry. I was sorry. I thought I was going to chime in here because from a sort of a security perspective, the way so far that we're functioning is we are basically an oracle. Since, you know, people's stakes are recorded on the blockchain, we have to confirm that their answers are correct when they send us their answers. And, you know, we can't distribute the answers because then people can cheat. The issue right now is has to do with how we're dealing with the Khan Academy tests. Oh, sorry. Basically, we want to administer our own tests. So that we can receive people's answers and check them. People don't have an opportunity to take the tests via Khan Academy in advance and then just know the right answers. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. Don't
Thanks.
worry about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And no, this was awesome because especially when we have projects that actually plug into things that people already use, especially in the millions, I think that's when we truly get to sort of make this accessible and useful to everybody else. And I'm also guilty of taking way too many MOOCs that I have not finished at all. So
there's a starting point here.
Perfect. So with that, we'll move on to our next demo. Congrats again on demoing, and we'll have Chronchain come up and share their video.
Yeah. So I'm happy to present Chronchain projects for Hack Money. I'm Isodonk Jafalo, and I'm a developer. I'm building a protocol that can support centralized and decentralized finance. How this works? Any user of Chronchain can use their assets as collateral for token, and those tokens will be automatically swapped for coin that can be added to liquidity pool. A quick demo. So I'm in the wallet of a user. So the user will just have to select its wallet, to select its certificate, and click on collateralize. And when he will click on collateralize, you can see in the collateralize, he's been granted of an amount of $20. So if he decided to pay back, when we have the fund to pay back, we'll see that the asset will leave the collateral and will go back to his wallet. Here is the admin interface. So the administration role will be to verify if those assets are legit, and also to inject liquidity. The protocol is developed from scratch and has Node.js connecting the client to the blockchain. Also, I've implemented Uniswap, Fortis, and Eve. In the future, I would like to support fiat to token and token to fiat swap. And I will also go mainnet. Thank you.
Okay. It's all I've done with the presentation. Do you have any question for me, please? Okay.
Hey, were you the only one on the scene? Are you the only member of the team?
Yeah, I'm the only one on the team.
Cool, really interesting project. So curious to hear what type of assets do you plan to collateralize on a platform like this? And then how does the pricing mechanism work as to how are these assets valued?
Yes, the kind of asset I'm collateralizing is those assets that have been added in Chronchain protocol. So before working on the protocol, I have a certification platform that I've built already. So when an asset will be certified from my platform, the value and the hash also, the fingerprint also will be added in the wallet. So those information will be took automatically, and the owner can be funded, and his asset will be collateralized to Chronchain, and when he will pay, he will have his asset back. So the value are predefined when he give his proof of ownership and those information. It's like a KYC for asset that have been done already. I have a seed web already, and the application already working.
Got it. And who's paying for this? Who's on the other side?
I didn't get it, sorry.
Who's paying for this? Who's on the other side?
Yeah, or the other side is any asset owner.
Asset owner, as in, so say I am collateralizing my asset, I get the money. Who's giving me that money? Is it your platform?
It's the platform. So the platform have a bank. The bank is done with Fortis, have a bank that will full anytime we generate a token. So we will do it's a swap that will be done already with our USA20 token to take some ETH from Uniswap and give back to the user.
Cool.
It's
So I have a question for you. I think this is definitely really cool. And anytime I see projects that deal with like real world assets, I always like to dig into this question, which is like, what do you think the blockchain enables here? And could you do this without a blockchain? And would there be kind of similar like experiences that users would have? I really want to kind of get into that fundamental unlock that the blockchain is giving you.
Yeah, that's what the blockchain is doing there is that without the blockchain, we can do this. because currently we have many projects who are certifying like a diploma. So if in the real life I can refuse to give you my ownership, I can be funded and refuse to pay back. But with our smart contract, you'll have a time to pay back. So when you didn't pay back, you will lose the ownership of the asset.
Gotcha. So there's like an element of, I guess, programmability is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yes.
Got it.
Okay.
And so what's the next step here? What's the thing you want to do next if you had more time?
Yeah, the thing I want to do next is to implement ETH, because I didn't implement ETH. ETH is the only thing I didn't implement. And after implementing ETH, I will go mainnet. I will go mainnet, and after going mainnet, I would like to be able to do swap from crypto to fiat. And the user that I'm targeting is user who are not able to use the technical to deal with private key, public key. So those users I'm targeting. And there are many those users who just want an application that they will click, they will have the fund, and they don't really want to deal with the blockchain anymore. So those are my customers.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and we hope you will keep on building this thing, and all the best for pushing this to mainnet. Let us know when that happens.
Thank you.
Great. Next up, I'd like to call up team ReDeFine, and I kind of got a chance to look at the video beforehand, and it was really cool. So actually, before you play the video, I'd love for you to tell our judges what FinFloor Explorer is and just sort of the context around that first, and then we'd love for them to see how you've extended it.
Okay, sure. Marcus, do you want to take that one?
So we are trying to think of a new financial system that rewards sustainable action. Communities can create tokens, and community members can obtain these tokens by proving they actually did something sustainably. They planted a tree, they helped an elderly person, they took the bike instead of the car. There are thousands of possibilities, and the idea is that it's bottom up, and communities can just use the platform to do exactly that.
Okay, then I would share the video, yeah?
Sounds great.
All right. Coming up. Welcome to Team ReDeFine's presentation. During the hackathon, we extended our existing DApp FinFloor Explorer with the functionality to add underlying sources of value to tokens. A simple workflow would look like this. You plant a tree, you prove it with a picture, you obtain a tree token. Now I will show you how the app looked like before the hackathon. This is the landing page. It's responsive design, so it also works on MetaMask Mobile, for instance. I will create a repair token. Basic ERC20 properties I can change. I will leave the defaults, also regarding minting. And I will set the verified type picture. This is basically extended in the hackathon to 2 steps with a lot of functionality that you will see later. Creating the token. Now I'm switching persona. I'm no longer the token creator. Now I'm someone who can repair bikes, and I just repaired the bike for someone, and I want to claim my repair token. And now I have to submit the proof, which is the picture. I have to give someone's address who will approve this. This is the person I repaired the bike for, and he has to approve. Now this person has gotten a message. Yes, definitely looks like repairing. All right, got verified. And now you can see I have a balance of 1 on this repair token. So let's have a look at how the DApp looks now with options implemented to back positive action tokens with different underlying sources of value. I created the repair token again, and we're in that step where in the previous version, there was only a free text field, but here it's 2 steps now, and I'm gonna run through them rather quickly. Add a sorcerer. I need the address of my collateral. I added a collateral token called Collie, which could also be a TBTC or a P tokens. And when I created that, I minted 100 to myself, so I can deposit on the collateral. I created a contract that implements the interface. All right, the token is created. We can see that the repair token has these collaterals. Furthermore, it has two external sources of values, one with a contract that implements our interface and one free text. For this one, I will, and we can see nothing happened. And I have to deposit something, so there's some funds on this. And now someone else can come, claim that repair token. And what I wanted to show you with the console is now this changed to that worked, meaning that external contract was called through the interface upon a successful claim. This person has a balance of 1 on the repair token and wants to redeem that for the collateral. So we can convert this 1. The repair token gets burned, 1 collie for it, 1 collie and no more repair token. So the swap one is sort of the default case we imagine. So you back a tree token, a repair token with PTPTC or another ERC20 collateral that is considered valuable. Let's say after a campaign, for instance, token owners merge their different sustainability tokens into one token that has specific properties, like it's locked for some time. Someone deposits 100 CO2 tokens that represent 100 tons of real world emissions. Various CO2 offsetting tokens that are proven to do so through our proof types can be used to burn down this 100. This one we imagine could be possible to, for instance, trigger cross-chain communication or start a business process in a DAO. Token creators can promise free museum tickets to their token holders. And we also discussed a way to create decentralized liquidity via a mesh network of trusted personal coins, which also comes with a universal basic income, obviously. That's it. All right, that's it. Yeah, sorry for the quick run through. I had to compress it a lot to get into the 4 minutes.
I mean, amazing, guys. There is an awful lot there. That's pretty compelling. So, okay, so I'd actually love to know, because there's so much here and it's so damn cool, what would be the first use case you guys really want to tackle? Like if there was one first initial use case that you really want to see like happen, you know, today or tomorrow, what would that be?
Well, I can tell you what we're trying to do in reality in the next few months, which is 2 use cases. One is with an NGO that does time banking in Switzerland, and the other one is, let's say, a collective in Berlin that got an old industrial area, and they would like to, well, run their community there, and they are already thinking about local currencies, and to reward people without using fiat. And so that would be the idea to try this system out in the next, hopefully next few months. And in general, we try to be open. There's a demo site where everyone can try this out.
I think there's a lot going on in this local currency space that I'm personally like super excited about. So this is going to be fun times for sure.
If we don't have any other questions, we'll move on to our next demo. Ben and Marcus, thank you so much for this hack and for staying up late for this demo on your time zone. With that, we'll move on to we'll move on to our next team, and that is Project XOpts, and they made a really cool options protocol. So I'll let them kick off with the demo.
Hey everyone, let me just quickly share. Go. Okay, let's take it away. Hello and welcome to XOpts. We are Team Interlay and we have built trustless Bitcoin native options. So what is this and how does this work? So we built Bitcoin put option as an insurance. So if the Bitcoin price drops relative to the US dollar or DAI, then Alice can buy an insurance to protect against that. And what's cool about it is that we don't require any kind of rep tokens. We don't require anything special on the Ethereum side, except for SPV proof. So Alice can just use her Bitcoin. How does this work? Bob essentially underwrites an option by using DAI. An option contract has a specific expiry date, a strike price, and a premium. And then Alice buys that insurance by paying the premium and saying how much Bitcoin she actually wants to insure. What Alice can then do is, if she wants to exercise the option, she sends the Bitcoin to Bob, and in return, she can claim the DAI that Bob has locked, and she only can do so by proving that she actually did that Bitcoin transaction on the Bitcoin blockchain by using our BTC relay. And if at the end of the expiry date, some unclaimed DAI are still in the contract, Bob can obviously refund those. So let's take a quick look at how that works. Okay, let's look at this from Bob's perspective. So what Bob can do is he can sell additional put options for a certain contract. So let's say he selects this one, which will expire next Sunday with a already certain number of DAI issued, but he knows that he can earn like 11 DAI per Bitcoin that's going to be insured on this contract. So what he's going to do is like he's going to add some DAI that he wants to put in. He's going to put his Bitcoin address in there, and then he's going to select pay. And what Alice will do is she's going to buy some options, and we can see here those expire in about a week at a strike price of 9,000 DAI per Bitcoin, and there's like 7,200 DAI locked in there, and we're going to buy some of that. We have to select a seller, so we know in the background where we have to send the Bitcoin in case we have to execute. And we're just going to say we have a very few Bitcoins. So Alice wants to have like a small insurance. We can see here she only has to pay like about 1 cent for that option. We're going to pay, which approves this on the DAI contract. And then as a next step, we confirm and pay the option in the in our option contract. And then now what we can do is we can go to Alice's screen, and then we can see here that she has purchased this option at that certain strike price. And now what we can do, assuming directly that this is profitable, we can exercise the option. This is the one that we have available that we just bought. And then we would technically be scanning the Bitcoin payment here. So what we would do is like when we scan that QR code, we get a Bitcoin address of the seller, which is Bob, send the Bitcoin to that address, and we then wait for the Bitcoin payment to process. So essentially what happens in the background there is that we're doing the payment, and we can then add the proof. So let's just add something randomly here. This is kind of mocked at the moment. We're exercising this, and then we confirm the transaction, and we have successfully exercised our option. So when we reload the page, we will see that this option is gone from the view here. Right, cool. That was our presentation. Thanks for watching. And yeah, so this is a project done together with Alexei and Greg, who are also on the call, and happy to take your questions now.
Guys, this is super impressive. You can kill the screen share so we can all see you, but
oh, yeah.
Super impressive. How was it working with BTC Relay? Were you guys able to get that implemented and working? And I'm actually kind of curious, just your experience of actually using that SPV proof concept.
So I'll take that one. So we implemented BTC Relay in Solidity. Essentially, Interlay is a company that works on interoperability solutions, and we previously built this in Rust, and now we built it in Solidity, basically. And yeah, we got it to work. I mean, it took a bit of time to get used to the Bitcoin nitty-gritty things below the, but essentially we have some experience with that from implementing it in Rust before. Yeah, more or less.
And then like one more technical question. I was just gonna also ask, how are you guys setting the premium that you pay for the put option right now? Are you, because it's not market based, you guys are just setting a premium price based on a model? Or
yeah, so how it basically works at the moment is anybody can just go in and create an option. And to be honest, like what we did in the video was just more or less random data. What we should be using or would be using would be some sort of like Scholes model or like binomial models or some proper pricing. But we didn't get around to do that. But yeah, since ultimately we just allow anyone to create an option, really people can just create their own thing if they wanted to, using a pricing strategy that they feel is right.
Guys, I think you did a great job. Cool. Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Hart, but it seems like, I mean, there's a lot of Bitcoin holders, right, who could be looking for something like this. What was the biggest technical challenge that you guys overcame while doing this project?
Yeah, great question. I guess I guess the biggest thing was that options expire. So we had to create like a new kind of ERC20 variation of that, very much inspired by Open, that would just expire after some time. So you shouldn't be able to really trade those tokens after the time. So I would say like that was probably the most challenging part, because it's such on a like low level detail that we had to change it.
And I guess another one was to make this as easily usable as possible. So we basically right now, you just need the Bitcoin wallet. So you just scan the QR code, and what we do, we basically would fetch the TX proof from Blockstream. And then submit it for you, or you can just do it yourself. But the idea was that the user really doesn't have to care too much about copy pasting something from the command line, which is not that easily done in Bitcoin.
Since we are running out of time, quickly, are there any attack vectors here where Bob could grief Alice?
So currently, Bob could relay an alter transaction of the same payment type. So currently, we only check that an amount has been paid to Bob's address, and someone could replay that from any point in time. The next step in this will be to add additional information that an attacker, say Eve, can't replay in the future. So we potentially add like an op return for Bob's Ethereum address, which we could collaborate with what we would expect on the Ethereum side.
Got it. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, XOpts. And with that, we have only 2 more projects to go for today. And I'd like to call up the DALP to share their amazing demo.
All right. So Mitchell's going to be sharing the video here. We are Team HMFB, and we have created the Decentralized Autonomous Liquidity Provider, otherwise known as the DALP. So the problem that we saw is that adding liquidity to Uniswap to earn fees is not as simple as lending money on Compound or Aave. You need the correct proportions of each asset to start, and moving from one Uniswap pair to another that is generating more fees is especially time-consuming. Today, this requires you pull out liquidity, swap to new assets, try to get the correct proportions of those assets, add new liquidity, and then deal with all the token dust left behind. Zapper can help with some of this for Uniswap v1, but not v2. Regardless, you would still need to monitor your liquidity and manually invest in a different token pair if it starts generating better fees. Our solution, the DALP, solves all these problems. A user simply buys DALP tokens, and the DALP manages their liquidity for them, always seeking the Uniswap pairs that can generate the most fees. It works by performing on-chain calculations to rate Uniswap pairs by their ability to generate fees. This is done by comparing the percent growth of a pair's square-rooted K value to the total notional value of the pair's reserves. This notional value is calculated using the new Uniswap v2 oracles. In theory, this tells us which pairs generate the most fees for the least liquidity. As you can see right now, that is Maker and Weave. When a user purchases DALP tokens, the ether they spend is added to the liquidity managed by the DALP. This liquidity is swapped to the appropriate tokens so the DALP can add it to the highest rated pair. So let's purchase some tokens right now. Buy about 50 of them. If the DALP discovers a new pair that has a higher rating, it will remove liquidity from the old pair and swap to the tokens required for the new pair. As you can see, there's an upcoming allocation to DAI ETH. When a user wants to cash out, they can redeem their DALP tokens. An amount of liquidity is removed from the active Uniswap pair that is proportional to the number of DALP tokens redeemed, and the tokens are swapped to ETH before being transferred to the user. So let's redeem some tokens now. We'll do another 50. So the risk for the DALP is the same as when anyone's dealing with an automated market maker exchange, and it's impermanent loss. We're interested in exploring ways to hedge against impermanent loss, such as using LP shares as a collateral on Aave to take out a loan and purchase assets that we can use to hedge, like leverage longs, shorts, or options. We believe this project benefits Uniswap because with just a little bit of refactoring polish, a number of functions developed for the DALP can be broken out into useful standalone periphery contracts that could benefit others trying to develop on top of Uniswap. These functions are using Uniswap v2 router and Uniswap v2 library, and they simplify the process of adding liquidity from a single balance of Ether, as well as simplify certain types of swaps. Moving forward, in addition to supporting more protocols, we want to improve the DALP's decentralization. Right now, there are a couple of function calls that require a contract owner, and we believe we can completely eliminate the need for an owner at all. Because we were able to perform our rating calculations on-chain, we believe the DALP could be capable of operating truly autonomously with zero or at most very minimal governance. With some extra work, the DALP could exist completely independent and immutable with no external entity in control.
All right, that is the pitch.
It's pretty awesome, Will. Seems like a very useful project or product too. Two questions for you guys. Have you done any modeling around what you think the yield would be on this DALP token on an annualized basis?
We do not have any good reports to show you necessarily. Right now, it's just kind of a hunch that this would be, you know, a cool, profitable thing. You know, maybe if I got one of the guys from the Will team at ETH Boston to run some data science stuff, I could show you.
I have a feeling like it actually might turn out to be very profitable, which would be pretty cool to see. And then other question, the current design has the DALP only investing in one pool at a time and then switching between them, correct?
Yeah.
Did you guys think at all about diversifying and like potentially having an allocation between a few pools? And I'm just sort of curious your design or your thought process about, you know, that design decision.
Yeah, so right now it's only doing one just for simplicity to get, you know, the project is, you know, end-to-end working right now. The smart contracts are working pretty good. So we wanted to simplify it to start out with, but we realized that as the DALP grew, putting all the liquidity in one may like tank the amount of yield that you could get from the fees compared to distributing it if you had like a significant amount of liquidity to provide. So we were thinking of it as kind of like a liquidity aggregator, you know, in the same way that like 1inch or Kyber aggregates on the one end, you know, this could aggregate on the other end and optimize the deployment of liquidity.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, I really like this. It reminds me of Stake's robo-advisor product. I don't know if you guys have seen that before, but it's called Ray. So this is, I think, something that people really want. I'm curious, why did you guys build it? Was it just because you found yourself in these pools and think there's a product here, or yeah?
Like we built it because we do actually think there's a product here. Like we approached the hackathon
as a, let's build something like independent of the sponsors, independent of the goal, let's build something we think people would use and see where sponsors fit into that, you know, as opposed to the other way around of trying to build an idea around what prizes are offered. So we started out with like, we wanted to create something useful for like, you know, like an actual problem that we see.
Yeah, cool. And I guess my follow-up question would be, you know, I think smart contract security is just extremely important for something like this. How do you think about that, especially as you kind of like get more complex over time with the product?
Well, we started out from the very beginning doing a lot of testing, you know, having automated unit tests. We weren't just, you know, trying to speed through it. Every component we were making, we were trying to test with the goal of having it prepared to be able to actually pass an audit.
Awesome.
Amazing. Well, Will, Michael, and if you have Mitchell, there you go.
Mitchell, Sebastian is also on the call.
Sebastian too. Thank you so much for this cool demo, and I'm really glad to see. I hope that as Hart said, the yields ends up working out. So this would be really cool to try out.
Yeah.
And with that, we are going to move on to our last demo for the day, and I want to thank everybody on the live stream and this call for kind of giving us the time. So let's make sure that we do this thing really sweetly and nicely. Please welcome Pensify for the last demo for Friday.
Hello.
Hey, everyone.
So let me start the video.
Hey there. We are Team Acropolis. Alex and Pavel are working on the backend side, and Dean is our front-end guy.
Oh, looks like
During Hack Money, we built Pensify, secure non-custodial.
There's a pretty big echo. Could you make sure that it's not coming through your mic and you have checked the video audio share box?
So what is Pensify and how does it work? It is built on Acropolis OS framework, which allows automated treasury management, yield rebalancing, and liquidity provision enabled by the bonding curve. Fund constantly generates interest from various DeFi protocols by utilizing robo-advisor for yield from staked us. Members can also earn additional income by utilizing flash loans and catching arbitrage opportunities between Uniswap and Balancer. Flash loans commissions are another source of yield for users. So let's test it out. So let's connect our wallet to Pensify. We will be using Fortis for this. Great, so here are Pensify stats. All deposits are converted to tokenized shares. Their price changes based on Ponzi curve and rises along with liquidity. Here you can check current deposit and withdrawal price for shares. Let's move to the account. So I already deposited some DAI, I can deposit even more. Here you can see a penalty fee for preliminary exit. By default parameters, your pension age starts in 2 days after deposit. This is distribution tab. Once per day, you will see accumulated distributions from yield rebalancer and flash loan commissions. Here is distributions history. Let's move forward to the arbitrage. So if you want to earn additional income right here and now, you need to create executor. So for arbitrage, we are using flash loans. You just need to choose token, choose pools, choose swap amount, add slippage, click apply, then input amount you're willing to earn after transaction fees, flash loans commission, and slippage. Input private key from any of your wallets. We recommend using hot wallets. Then click approve tokens and click run. Swaps will be executing automatically while your browser is open. Let's fast forward to our pension and withdraw our savings. That's it. For this hack, we integrated Fortis that allowed us to build a mobile version of the fund. We also used Balancer and Uniswap pools as a source of flash arbitrage opportunities. For flash loans, we took inspiration from Aave, and our fund earns interest from Aave and Compound. So what's next? We want to add gasless network token support. enhance UI UX even more, add ability to create your own pension plan, add community governance for main fund parameters, integrate a stack protocol to allow privacy transactions, add support for various tokens, and add support of different arbitrage strategies. That's it from us. Pensify is deployed on Ethereum mainnet and Coven testnet. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I can answer your questions now.
Thank you for the presentation. For pension funds, the usual end goal is to earn sustainable interest over really long time horizons, 30, 40 plus years. Curious to hear, how did you decide to build a pension fund on crypto?
Well, in this demo, we set up the deposit period for 2 days and withdrawal period only for 1 day. But in general, we think that this should be long-term strategy. So if you want to invest long-term or to have your savings for long-term, this fund may be for you.
Cool.
So would the idea be, Pavel, that you'd have different funds with different deposit periods and withdrawal periods? Or is the idea to actually have like kind of one big fund and then have different payouts directed out of that single big fund?
Yeah, the idea to have one big fund. And right now we only have one strategy for the whole fund, but we have plans to improve it and have individual plans.
Very cool. I think it's a very compelling concept. And I also will comment and say that the idea of using all of these risk-free strategies to earn yield and creating a pooled investment fund to invest in those strategies, that's a very interesting and compelling concept that I think is pretty unique to DeFi. So congrats on kind of pursuing that.
Yeah, so I think you guys did a great job. What do you think is an underappreciated aspect of your project?
What?
Underappreciated, something that you'd like to draw attention to, maybe that you're proud of. It could be really anything.
Well, I think there should be noted that there is two strategies. The one strategy for long-term savings, and another one if you just want to get money right now, then you can also use our arbitrage bot, and the whole fund will benefit from this. Not only you.
Got it. Makes sense. Very cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Team Pensify. And this concludes our Friday of demo, and this is our day 5. So I just want to make sure I give a quick reminder to everybody here on this call and the live stream that our finale is set to be on June 2nd. That's this coming Tuesday from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern, where all of our top teams from this entire week will be presenting to our judges panel that's on the screen. We have Robert Lechner, Vitalik Buterin, Stani Kolochov, Ashley Schaap, Thomas Bertani, and Andreas Antopoulos. So I want to thank our judges again for giving us the time and their feedback to all of our teams. And we'll be following up on Twitter with some of our highlights from today and the rest of this week with all of our demos. And with that, thank you so much for watching.